Good morning, class. Today is April 15th, and our lesson for today is going to cover a few different things. First, we're going to talk about the word analysis lesson, which covers both multiple meaning words and the difference between connotation and denotation. We're also going to be talking about your vocab and your vocab quiz. We're also going to be talking about the reading for today, which is Alvin Ailey. And there's going to be a slight or a short, brief little talk about plagiarism and the importance of avoiding plagiarism, right? Preventing plagiarism. So this video is actually only going to cover the word analysis portion of this lesson, and the video that follows will cover both the vocab and the reading lesson. So go ahead. We're just going ahead and getting started. The word analysis lesson for today covers first multiple meaning words. And so when you look in your Google Slides presentation, on the first slide, which says multiple meaning words, I want you to look at that little picture at the top that says line 3. It's got 4 different words in it, and these provide some examples of multiple meaning words. So when you look at those words, the 4 words are mind, number, steps, and heart, okay? So each of these words carry more than one meaning, okay? If we recall back to Monday's lesson when we were talking about homographs, okay, homographs are basically words that are spelled the same, but have different meanings and possibly have different pronunciations, okay? Homographs and multiple meaning words are really similar. They're pretty similar, but they're not quite the same thing, okay? And this is why. They both have multiple meanings. Both homographs and multiple meaning words talk about words that have multiple meanings. However, multiple meaning words have different meanings that can be traced back to the same origin, okay? I'll give you an example. The word mind, which is in line 3. This is a word that has multiple different meanings, right? Mind can mean, the word mind can mean one's consciousness or mental processes, thought processes, that kind of thing. So if you're saying like, what's on your mind, right? If someone asks you what's on your mind, that means, what are you thinking, right? What are your mental processes about this right now? Mind can also refer to a feeling of being inconvenienced. Okay, so for example, if someone said, would you mind if I stubbed your toe right now? Hopefully your response would be, yeah, of course I would mind. Don't do that. Don't stub my toe, right? So in that case, mind means the feeling of being inconvenienced. You wouldn't want somebody to stub your toe, and so your response would be, yes, I would mind. I would care if you did that. However, so these are 2 different meanings, right? But they can both be sort of traced back to the same origin of meaning, which relates to someone's psychological, an individual person's psychological or mental emotional state, right? Mind, talking about what's on your mind, what are you thinking? That has to do with your psychological being, yourself, right? Your thoughts. And the feeling of being inconvenienced, again, this relates to what you care about, right? Or not. Yes, I care. I would care if you did that. That's how I think about that situation. I wouldn't want you to stub my toe, right? So the next part of this word analysis portion is talking about connotation versus denotation, okay? Again, when you look in the PowerPoint slides, look at the top of that first page for the connotation versus denotation word analysis lesson, and there is a picture that says line 4, and it's got the 4 following words: exotic, strange, proud, and haughty, right? Or haughty. So do you notice any similarities or differences in those words? Just think about that. Word pairs such as exotic and strange, just like proud and haughty, seem to have the same or really similar meanings, okay? And in saying that, they also have some important differences, right? So again, these word pairs like exotic and strange and proud and haughty these are going to be synonyms, right? They have sort of similar meanings, right? Similar definitional meanings, but they're also different in a certain kind of way. Both exotic and strange can mean different or out of the ordinary, okay? This would be your definitional meaning, or what could also be called their denotation. So again, a denotation has to do with a precise sort of definitional meaning of a word. It has to do with the literal meaning of the word, something that you would find in a dictionary. Whereas both words, exotic and strange, also carry a different kind of emotional weight, right? A different associated kind of feeling, right? This would be their connotation. So denotation is their definitional meaning. Connotation has to do with their feeling, their emotional weight, the kinds of feelings that they evoke, right? That they make you feel. So, for example, exotic has kind of a more positive connotation, right? For example, we could say the famous hotel's exotic menu offered a multicultural dining experience, okay? That sounds like something maybe more positive, right? Like it's exposing you to something different that's exciting and hopefully delicious. It sounds like it's delicious. But strange, the word strange usually has more of a negative kind of connotation. For example, I could say, I love the band The Doors, but my sister really thinks that they're strange. So what I'm saying is that my sister thinks that this band makes her uncomfortable, or she thinks that they're weird, or she doesn't understand them and they're odd, right? So that is the more kind of connotation that strange has, that more negative connotation that strange has versus the more positive kind of connotation that exotic has. One more thing about this, when you look in your PowerPoint slides, there is one slide for the connotation versus denotation lesson that's got two images in it, two different images. And at the top of the slide, it says which image goes with the word exotic and which image goes with the word strange. I'm not going to tell you what I think, but I want you to look at that slide, and I want you to think about which picture you would put with the word exotic and which picture you would put with the word strange. Okay, so as you're doing that, think about how these two words have two very different connotations, right? Even as they have somewhat similar meanings, being different or out of the ordinary. So the last thing I'm going to talk to you about in this video is just the word analysis assignment. So what I would like for you to do is in your word analysis assignment on Google Classrooms, go to that Google Doc and fill it out and then submit it. Inside of the Google Doc, it's going to be sort of a two-part assignment. The first part has to do with multiple meanings, and the second part has to do with connotation versus denotation. So in the first part, I want you to write two possible meanings for the word steps. Okay, so I'll just give you my own example right now. I could say, I'm walking on the steps, right? Like the steps is in a staircase. But I could also say, I don't know the steps to this math problem, right? Two different meanings for the word steps, but in both cases, both meanings can be sort of traced back to the same origin of, moving from this place to the next, right? Steps in a math problem, this place to the next place in this math problem, or steps on a staircase from this physical place to this place, right? So that's my example of two possible meanings for the word steps. You need to come up with your own two. So for connotation and denotation, this is going to be different for people using the packet and people doing Google Classrooms, because I just couldn't figure out how to make both the same assignment work for both settings, unfortunately. So for people doing Google Classrooms, okay, what I want you to do is in that same Google Doc, I want you to write one definition and one sentence using each of the words there. So the words are proud and arrogant, okay? So total, you're going to have two definitions, two sentences, one of each for each word, okay? As you write these, I want you to think about how the definitions or their denotational meaning will be somewhat similar, right? They might not be exactly the same, but they're going to have sort of similar elements. Whereas the feeling that they're going to evoke in the different sentences that you write are probably going to be different. Proud versus arrogant, right? So again, that last part will be your connotation, the connotational meaning of that word. For people using the packets, I created a Venn diagram. So on both sides of the Venn diagram, there's a different word. So on the left side, I think it's proud. On the right side, it's haughty, right? So haughty and arrogant have sort of similar meanings. And so what I want you to do is in that Venn diagram, I want you to put the connotational meanings on the left and right hand side, right? On the left hand side, it will be for proud. On the right hand side, it'll be for haughty. And in the middle, I want you to think about a denotational meaning for both words, sort of a definitional, literal meaning for both words that might be fairly similar, right?